Welcome to a special Halloween edition of Whatever Happened to Pizza at McDonald's, the investigative journalism program where I ask the question, whatever happened to the pizza at McDonald's? I'm your host, Brian Thompson. If one were out for a drive and passed a McDonald's restaurant, one might notice that the sign features the following slogan, "Billions and billions served." Then one might notice that a Federal Express delivery truck has stopped short in front of one's car while one was reading the McDonald's sign, resulting in a fatal collision that ejects one through one's windshield. This is why I do not recommend anyone attempt to read a McDonald's sign while driving in an automobile. But I can assure you with my word as a journalist that it is true. Almost every McDonald's sign reads, "Billions and billions served." If this is really the case, and I truly hope it is considering how many McDonald's executives could face extensive jail time for false advertising, then it is a statistical certainty that many of these billions and billions never made it out of McDonald's alive. The sad fact is that dozens of people pass away every day, whether from natural causes, violent homicide, or being ejected through their windshields while trying to read a passing sign. And being inside a McDonald's only increases the risk. Many items on the modern McDonald's menu are known contributors to heart disease. Many McDonald's floors are in a perpetual state of dangerous wetness due to the high number of vomiting and diarrhea incidents experienced by customers. And perhaps most dangerous of all, the warm plastic tubing that makes up McDonald's Play Place slides provides an irresistible cold weather den for all manner of poisonous snakes. But what happens to the people who pass away while dining at McDonald's? The fates of their physical remains are no doubt rather mundane. If you have ever seen an ambulance driving without its emergency lights and siren on, there is a good chance it is transporting the body of a McDonald's customer to the morgue for identification. And the deceased whose driver's licenses specify them as voluntary organ donors are simply carried to the kitchen, freeze-dried, and shipped to the closest McDonald's food processing plant for recycling. But the fate of the spirits of those who pass away at McDonald's are far less certain, and, dare I say, far more spooky. Just a few miles from the famed Niagara Falls, in the community of Lewiston, New York, United States, New York, there is a building called Frontier House. Now placed on the National Register of Historic Places alongside such monuments as Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, Elvis Presley's Graceland, and the Four Seasons Total Landscaping parking lot, Frontier House has been used for many purposes since its construction in the early 19th century. It has served as a well-regarded hotel, a private residence, a boarding house for local factory workers, and as a museum. But in 1975, it became a McDonald's. Shortly afterward, customers began complaining of an eerie phenomenon. Several reported that while dining there, they would experience an unpleasant physical sensation as if a spectral force were grasping them by the shoulders and giving them a violent shake. One customer told a local reporter that they felt the shaking multiple times, quote, "even if I just order a Coke," unquote. Some believe the shaker is the spirit of a McDonald's customer who passed away in the normal fashion, by vomiting or diarrheaing to death. Perhaps this customer was some kind of freak or pervert whose unfinished business here in the mortal realm involved shaking people for a sick thrill. But others say this is the work of a much older ghost. In 1826, Frontier House served as a meeting place for the local population of Freemasons. The secret society known as the Freemasons is the subject of quite a few outlandish conspiracy theories, which I will not legitimize by repeating here. The truth of the organization is that it is simply a club for gentlemen who wish to gather in private, wear little aprons, and sacrifice kidnapped virgins to their lord and master Lucifer, whom they call the Lord of Lies, or simply the wise one. But legend has it that one Captain William Morgan, a Freemason who met at Frontier House, became disaffected with the order. Perhaps he was tired of keeping it secret how much he liked to wear little aprons. Or perhaps he wanted to sacrifice a virgin to some other, more evil and ancient god. Whatever the case, legend has it that when he made his dissatisfaction known to his fellow Freemasons, he was awarded for his honesty by being brutally murdered and his body hidden inside the walls of Frontier House. However, it is quite likely that no living person knows if this legend is true. What is known is that Captain Morgan went missing and his body was never found. I suppose it is possible that an investigative journalist could have ripped open the walls of the building and checked for human remains. But I know from first-hand experience that the managers of McDonald's almost never let anyone search inside their walls without putting up what I can only describe as a quote-unquote big stink. If William Morgan were killed by his devil-worshipping friends, it would certainly explain the presence of an unruly spirit in the McDonald's that would call Frontier House home in later years. Though why Captain Morgan's ghost would be so interested in shaking customers is still quite a mystery. Not to mention why he would be interested in shaking even someone who is just purchasing a Coke. Regardless, the McDonald's Corporation abandoned Frontier House in the year 2004. This may have had something to do with the ghostly shaking, or perhaps the reports from management that lights would inexplicably go on and off, or maybe the fact that the basement was absolutely filthy with dried virgin's blood and little soiled aprons. But, as a journalist, I am a natural skeptic, especially when it comes to things I am predisposed to disbelieve based on my own personal hang-ups and biases. As such, I cannot help but think McDonald's leaving Frontier House in 2004 more likely has to do with the fact that in the roughly 10 years after the banishment of pizza from the McDonald's menu, customers simply had little reason to put up with all the shaking. Now, with that spooky ghost tale out of the way, I will try and finalize some of my Halloween plans.
So McDonald's, this is Jeff. How can I help you?
Hello, Jeff. My name is Brian Thompson. I'm calling with perhaps an unusual question, but tomorrow night, on Halloween night, I'm not going to be home, and I was thinking of leaving a bowl of chicken McNuggets outside for some children to take if they would like. And I was just wondering about how long those would keep.
Outside they probably wouldn't keep very long at all.
Oh, okay. Well, what would happen after a certain point? They would become poisonous to eat, or?
They would definitely get cold.
Okay.
The nuggets, outside of a warmer, I'd say no longer than like 4 minutes, probably. 'Cause they start
4.
getting real cold real quick.
Okay. The cold is the main problem. They just wouldn't be very palatable cold, but they wouldn't be dangerous, you're saying?
I wouldn't eat nuggets longer than 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Outside of staying in some sort of warm device.
I see. Well,
and definitely not longer than like 15 minutes after cooked.
Okay, I guess I can just make note of the time that I set them out and then put a little sign saying what time it was and ask the children not to take any if it's been after 15 minutes or so. Or would it be possible, do you think, for me to put a microwave outside with an extension cord running to it and maybe they could heat them up?
What time would you be gone from, do you think?
Oh, I think I will be gone anywhere between 7:30 p.m. and 10:30, 11 p.m.
All right. So we close at 11. The other option, if we have it available, is DoorDash. The other option would be to order it in the mobile app and select delivery.
Okay.
That may work. I'm not sure exactly how the whole delivery a lot of people say that they can get delivery in the mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I've never tried it or looked into it, so I don't know how that works or if it works.
Okay. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. Instead of just leaving the bowl of chicken McNuggets out, maybe I'll just write down some instructions telling the children that they can use DoorDash or possibly the mobile app. You're not quite sure. If they use the mobile app and it gets back to me that they had trouble ordering delivery through it, I will make sure that they don't blame you or your particular location or your management or anything like that, franchise owner or anything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want, anyone getting sick or anything from it.
Okay, I'll just tell them to order it themselves. That actually would probably be financially better for me anyway.
Yeah, you might even be able to leave like little like you print out, like on like a Windows PowerPoint or whatever, print out where you can make like multiples and then just cut slips and leave them next to it maybe. And then leave the instructions for the parents with the information that you have for them.
Sure, I think I can do that. I did purchase Paint Shop Pro about 25 years ago. So.
Yeah, no, something like that might work too.
Okay.
You can also go online and download a program called Paint Plus Plus. It's a free program, and it's a safe download.
Okay. Is that?
It won't mess with your computer or anything. It has a whole bunch of options and really cool stuff. It's a little different, obviously, than like Paint Shop or PowerPoint or any of those. But it has a lot of really great options on there. So that would be another option.
Okay.
But if you were to leave a sign that says, stop, make sure parents read slip, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
not sure really what to recommend.
Okay. Well, plus.
I wouldn't hate to see anybody get sick from eating, old nuggets or something.
Well, I guess I wouldn't actually see it since I wouldn't be home, but I certainly wouldn't want that on my proverbial conscience. So.
Yeah, we'll have more managers here tomorrow. Around 8 or 9 o'clock. So maybe you can give them a call and see what they recommend as well.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So this printer program, Paint Plus, you said? Is that
right?
Spelled out PLUS, or are those two plus signs?
Just 2 plus signs is Paint, and 2 plus signs.
Okay.
If you type it into Google, type in Paint Plus Plus, it should, bring you to the Google search site.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be a download available.
Okay. I am familiar with the Google search site, so I will use that, Paint Plus Plus, and I have just written that down. Thankfully, for once, I actually
really
had a pen handy.
I use it myself for stuff. So.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your candor.
Yeah, you bet. What was your name again?
Brian.
Brian, you have a wonderful Halloween.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. My pleasure. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
Do you know what happened to pizza at McDonald's? Do you remember it? Please send all correspondence to pizza@mcdonalds@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at pizza@McDee's. And purchase my best-selling book, How to Be an Investigative Journalist, at howtobeaninvestigativejournalist.com. To support the show, please join my Patreon at patreon.com/pizza@McDee's for exclusive podcasts and other benefits. Thank you to my invaluable Patreon producers: Isabella Zelaskowski, Jacob Ford, Joe Kajik, Kimberly King, Kyle Tarak, Pam Gabriel, Will, Andrew Duffy, Andrew Ahmed Johnson Rubin, Billy Jean, Brad Allen Thompson, David Friedman, Felix Dooley, Jay Poop, Calvin Thomas, Kat Resney, Laurel Paul, Mel, Mitchell Kordick, Opus Mareshi, Grant Bacon, and Ryan Guggenmoss. I'm Brian Thompson, investigative journalist.